The nothing happened moment comes at the very end of the Thriller Bark arc, after Gecko Moria and his zombies have been defeated. A second warlord, Bartholomew Kuma, arrives to eliminate the Straw Hats, and straight off the bat, Kuma picks out Zoro from the crowd and challenges him to a fight. At this point in the story, Kuma is way too strong for Zoro to beat alone, so Zoro offers him his head instead of Luffy's. And inspired by this, Kuma cuts Zoro a deal. If he can take on all of Luffy's pain, he will leave and spare all of their lives. Zoro accepts this and survives, silently taking on Luffy's burden without him ever knowing about it. This is one of the more memorable scenes in Thriller Bark and for Zoro's character as a whole, so why do I think this moment is overrated? Well, for one, I think the majority of the appeal of this scene comes from a place of power fantasy rather than a genuine or deep character moment. Moments before Zoro's sacrifice, every other Straw Hat and even the Rumbar Pirates were fully willing to sacrifice their lives for Luffy's sake as well. The only difference is that they weren't strong enough to stay conscious after Kuma's Ursa's shock. Sanji was the one exception who was also able to stay conscious, and he even offered to take on Luffy's pain instead of Zoro, but Zoro knocked him out because he probably thought that he was the only one who could have actually survived, which is probably true because he only just barely survived himself. So if every other Straw Hat was already fully willing to sacrifice their own lives, then Zoro's sacrifice just shows that he's physically stronger and more durable than all of them, and nothing deeper beyond that. You can argue that Zoro took on more pain than anyone else, but taking on pain doesn't necessarily equate to good character writing. It's like when people argue about which anime characters suffer the most, as if that decides whether a character is good or not. But you can argue that it's not about the pain that Zoro took, it's the fact that he's willing to take on Luffy's pain and never complained or even mentioned it. This just shows that Zoro is the most stoic and masculine of all the Straw Hats, but that doesn't necessarily make him a better character. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. In the occasions where Nami and Usopp take on pain for Luffy's sake, it actually kind of hits harder because it's not in character for them to do so. This is not to say masculinity and stoicism aren't virtues, because that's probably where a lot of the appeal of this scene comes from. But a feat of mental strength is kind of like a feat of physical strength, as it doesn't necessarily correlate to great writing. So Zoro isn't special because he's willing to sacrifice his life, as every other Straw Hat would do so as well. Zoro just had the physical and mental strength to take on more pain, but pain, like I said, doesn't correlate to good writing.